Okay, so I'm in now. A little wet. Very cold. Alright. So, basically, I'm going to put this first, and then preceding videos, and I'm basically talking about how Ciera was lured and trapped. She was lured with the play. She was lured with a place to stay. Because she didn't have too many options, people. Alright? When she left here, I told her, I said, Ciera, that day when you see her on that video, when she got out of jail, I said, you need to go find shelter. I can't house you. Because she had already been at the house for quite a few hours, people, by the time I got home. So, you know, before it got dark and real cold, I told her to go find shelter. So, somehow, some way, she found that guy, and he offered to let her try it out. And she hadn't even been there for 2 fucking days. Okay, in my opinion, he lured her. He lured her to fucking... for this shit, okay? Ciera was targeted for this shit, people. Everybody was getting tired of Ciera's mental illness. Somebody called her number up and wanted to stick it to me. Right? Just because of the way the fucking cops in the corner dealt with it. I mean, it was pretty plain to see. Okay, people, now it's April 2nd. I don't know if you can see this, but it's snowing. Not much, but it is very cold outside. Do you see? See the snow? I can't work outside this, people. I don't want to get sick. It's not fair that I should get sick over this shit. Okay, people, so now it's April 2nd. It's cold out there. It's going on like 1:30. Yeah, it's 1:30. I'm just going to go outside for a little while. I don't want to. I really don't. But it doesn't matter how I feel. Right? That's not the agenda here. The agenda is to derail me so I don't get this lawsuit filed. Or maybe I might get the coronavirus and get sick and die. Or maybe I'll just come down with a bad flu and get sick and die. Right? Not trying to feel sorry for myself, people, but at the end of the day, you know, you need to stop and ask yourself, why are people being targeted? Right? With cops running around corners, acting all shady. Right? It's not by coincidence. Okay, what happened to Ciera was not a coincidence. Okay? That guy is going on with 2 different stories, people. And, if the cops were paying attention when I was sitting on that couch and they were standing there listening, okay, they would have clued in that his story wasn't matching up about, what is it called? Finding her in the bathroom. Where did that come from? Right? When I was sitting on that couch, he never said that, people. Didn't even suggest that's what he did. But when I'm not around, that's what he's telling people. And of course, the cops won't follow up on it, right? Because, you know, that phantom car bolting out of there the way it did, as I'm being told that it's going to take another 3 hours for them to investigate because all of a sudden something came up. Yeah, those guys to help load the body into that car, into that phantom car. That's why when I showed up an hour and a half later versus 3 hours later, they were gone. Right? Because they're not being honest, people. So anyway, I'm trying to find a independent pathologist out here to get an independent autopsy done for Ciera. And it turns out we don't have that here in British Columbia, Canada, because the provincial government has basically got autopsies on lockdown. And I can understand why they would do that from a criminal aspect, right? You know, if you're a criminal organization, why would you want to share the wealth? You don't. You want to have complete control of what comes in and what goes out. That's what cartels do, right? They run the system and they knock off who they think is a threat. Or when it's time to just basically get rid of them, right? So I don't think it's possible to get an independent autopsy done because there are no provisions for it. And I don't even think it's written into legislation because there are no provisions for it. Because, again, the provincial government of British Columbia, Canada, has got that industry on lockdown, where only the coroner and the coroner's friends can do that kind of shit. Okay? Unless, of course, I might be wrong, but so far nobody's found anything. One person was looking. They didn't find anything. I was looking all morning. I didn't find anything. So that tells you something right there, people. That tells you that, you know, the government is involved in this because they wrote the legislation in where you can't even follow up on your own suspicions, even if you have evidence to support those suspicions. And that phantom car is evidence. There were only 4 people in that house when we walked out. Okay? When we walked in, there were only 3. Okay? It was that guy that came with his Mickey Mouse, she was picking flowers at noon, and, yeah, she was fine, and then I don't know, and then I went to go check on her, and, you know, and she was fine, and yeah, and then I don't know what happened. Well, what do you mean? Like, from 12 o'clock until 4, what happened? Oh, well, she was kind of warm, and, you know, you can hear it, people. He was stumbling over his words. He didn't want to be specific, right? He couldn't explain a 4-hour window gap. But yet, when I'm not around, he's telling the police and Tisha that he found her in the bathroom not feeling well. And he walked her to the bedroom. When? At what time? And then what? Was he going back in and out of the bedroom, checking up on her? How is it that he didn't have no blood all over him? He was spotless, people. He was clean, right? He was calm, cool, collective, and clean. You know, she apparently had blood coming out of her nose. Why was there no blood on him if you're doing CPR? He told me he did CPR on her. He told me he rolled her over and he noticed that the blood was pooling from where she was supposedly laying. He made it sound like she was laying in bed when he was talking to me. But yet, when we come in, she's laying on the floor by the door frame, people, sprawled out, naked. So what, did she get out of bed and walk herself to the door frame, fall, hit her head, and then he came along and did CPR on her? He didn't tell me any of that, people. He didn't tell me none of that. He just made it sound like he went to the bed and she wasn't responding. That's what he said. He just, you know, I was checking up on her and she was fine. I was checking up and she seemed to be fine. I checked on her like 3 times, 4 times. And then the last time I checked on her, it was like, something wrong. Quick, do CPR. Quick, roll her over. What? He was doing all that shit on the floor by the door frame? And of course, cops not doing nothing about it because they've already got it written in the coroner's file that he found her in the bathroom and walked her to bed. And then I guess he left her there. And then I guess he dragged her over to the fucking door frame. Or she got out of bed, walked over to the door frame, knocked herself on the head, and fell down. And then that's when he found her. But of course he's not telling me that, people. So that tells you the dude is lying. As we walked in, Tisha, Marcaine, and me, walked into the door. There were 2 cops and that dude. That's all that was in the house, people. 5 minutes into the game, the coroner shows up. Now the coroner is on the property. That's 4 people in the house, right? In terms of 2 cops, the dude, and the coroner. They kick out Tisha, Marcaine, and me. That leaves 4 people inside, people. 4 people. As for those men going in and out, okay, they went back to their own vehicles, people. Okay, you can see who's coming and who's going. The ones that went in and went back out, they came out to move their vehicles because the coroner told them, I have to get out. So they went out, got in their cars, made the driveway available, and that bitch beelined out of there, I'm telling you people, with Ciera's body in the back. As now, you've got that big-ass cop standing there, oh, it's going to take 3 more hours. It's special investigation now. Oh, something's up. Oh, you need to go home and we'll call you because it's going to take at least 3 hours. And 3 hours standing in the rain, right? You know what I'm saying? And, come on, it's okay, you can trust us. We'll call you. Okay, so we bend down to it because we don't want to get arrested. We don't want to cause trouble, right? We believe in our, there is no breach of trust here that falls under the Criminal Code of Canada, right? Because our healthcare or public union sector workers are so professional, people. So there is absolutely no breach of trust under the Criminal Code of Canada occurring on those steps, right? So we leave. But an hour and a half or so, maybe a little less, I said, we need to go back. And sure enough, people, the place was empty. The only thing that was sitting outside was a cop watching the front, sitting in his vehicle, and a cop in the back, watching the back in their vehicle. The house was completely dark. Because they took out Ciera's body in that phantom car. There is your breach of trust, people. And when they tell you that they cannot harvest organs from junkies, let me tell you something. That is just a political bullshit lie. You know why? Because now that nobody wants the junkies, right? Because the organ donation center doesn't want them. It becomes a free market for the criminals in our society who use public tax dollars to facilitate that criminal activity. And that is what that fucking phantom car represents. If it's not up in your fucking face, it's in your face, people. As that guy, I am sure, is still bumbling over his words as the cops and the coroner are playing catch-up. But you see, they don't really have to play catch-up, though, because they got all their ducks in order when it comes to the legislation, right? They allowed that dude, John, a nobody, a random fucking person that had a room, used his available room for rent as bait to bait in a vulnerable woman who has been abused for years by the public union sector so that he could snap and get his jollies off that way, since the dude was probably impotent and couldn't fucking have sex even if he wanted to. But he snapped and he got his jollies on it. And, of course, police don't care because they got what they wanted, a free market commodity that nobody wants except them. And whoever is buying this shit, whatever it is that they're taking out of these bodies en masse, because our government fails to really protect us and has actually let loose predators among us, where we can't even fucking walk out the door without being targeted by them in one way or another. Right? So anyway, I'm standing my ground. Now, I am phoning around for a funeral home. And if we do a fucking... Because I have to pick up the body. A body that I was denied access to because they put some fucking stranger above me. In terms of identifying Ciera. If it wasn't the cops who identified her, it was the coroner. But first dib was the one who probably snapped and put her in that position. Because he's already put his foot in his mouth, people. He's already said what he's had to say. The only thing is, it will be just another Julian. The cops will completely ignore it. They will completely ignore it because at the end of the day, there was only 4 people left when the kids and I went out that door, okay? And it wasn't the cops jumping into that phantom car and beelining out of there. It was the coroner. It was the coroner with the goods. That's what it was. And because there is no means for me to double check on anything, because my government, my British Columbia, fucking Canada government has made it where I can't even get an independent autopsy to follow up on a breach of duty. Because these people have given me absolutely no reason to, trust them? None. Absolutely none. And now that I know that there's a very high probability that they're harvesting junkies illegally because the legal donation center doesn't want them. But you know, one man's garbage is one man's junk, one man's garbage is another man's treasure. Ciera was a fucking treasure. Payback's a bitch, right? Right? Is that a payback for pushing and fighting for ShaMay? Huh? Is it? Is it, people? Was Ciera fucking payback? Who's next? I say it. Who's fucking next? Because it's pretty apparent. You can see the pattern, people. And if you think you're safe, the only reason you are safe is because you worship the devil and you participate in those same kind of activities and you think you're going to get longevity in life and in death, but you can live with Satan. That's, you know, at the end of the day, though, like, it will be exposed. Okay, there's not a lot of time left on this camera. I have to clear it out, right? Honestly, I don't think I have enough time to meet the expectations of the city. I really don't. Because one, I'm not feeling that great myself, people. Amari is coming home tomorrow, right? So what does that tell you? I'm not going to be outside that much, right? He wants to come home, right? Tisha's been watching him for a few days for me, just so that I don't have the kids running like little Leia May running and just, you know, more people in the house, more dishes, more mess, more crumbs, more laundry. Right? So, you tell me how am I going to get this figured out. There's too many things I have to build and repair. I have to repair things, people. You know? And some of this stuff is heavy, intensive labor, you know? It's heavy shit, and I'm weak. I've been inside all winter, you know? I'm not weak, but yeah, I'm weak. Like I'm feeling aches and pains because of bending and lifting and squatting and, you know, you seen my nose yesterday. I just got out here. Wait and see what happens in the next few hours. And of course, you know, I'm sitting here thinking about everything that's going on, right? You know, if you notice that dude's not calling back, eh? He was quick to call me there, right? Give me a song and dance, eh? You know, they just wanted me there just to fuck with my head. It's called, you know, psychological warfare, right? Like, why did they even call me in? Right? Coroner didn't ask me to identify. They used some random dude that used his house as a room to rent as bait, people. Ciera was baited, people, to go to his house and think that she was going to move in so he could do whatever he wanted to do. Okay, yeah, like this is serious, people. We've got the province of British Columbia, Canada, forcing all these vulnerable, sick individuals out onto the fucking streets, right? and with your criminal organizations, baiting people, vulnerable people that have no place to go, to, oh, come rent a room from me. Oh, yeah, we'll give it a try. Oh, come on. Don't worry, I'm not sexually interested in you. No. That's not my thing. I don't get off on that. But what I do get off on makes me money, people. Makes me fucking money. I can't... The more I think about it, the more I realized how Ciera was baited. She was baited for this, people. And because they're using the coronavirus to separate families, apparently, if I have a funeral, right, I'm only allowed 10 people to come. And the funeral director was talking about they might just drop it down to fucking 3 or 4 or 5 people. Like, what kind of bullshit is that? And if you do a burial, which I will do for Ciera, okay, you're not allowed to go there and be a part of it. You have to stand back and look at the casket from a distance. But if you notice, people like Ciera are just set up to fucking like a fly trap. That house was a trap, people. She was baited to be there. She wasn't even there for 2 fucking days, and she ended up dead, and the coroner fucking covered it up, okay? In the fact that, 1, she wouldn't let me identify Ciera or my kids, and 2, she settled for some random fucking stranger that baited Ciera to be there because my government has been failing her for 8 fucking years, people, after they basically destroyed my family with their fucking funky out-of-school practicum social worker who wanted to get her first apprehension right under her belt so that she could go around in the fucking bars with her girlfriends bragging on about what a great fucking government worker she was. As she's thinking about her pension plan, her superannuation life insurance policy, her fucking dental plan, her disability pensions, her buyout packages, and all this other fucking shit that she'll get in 25 years after she takes thousands of kids away wrongfully from innocent families that don't deserve that kind of shit. Ciera was baited to be in that house, people. That man gave 2 different fucking stories, okay? And he couldn't even fucking come clean with it. There were only 4 people in that house, all right? That wasn't a cop car that drove up through the fucking back. That was the coroner's fucking car, okay? And that happened 10 minutes, or no, 15 minutes, or whatever, just long enough for them to load up the body into the car. And then that big cop, oh, it's going to take 3 hours because now it's a special investigation. Yeah, well, an hour and a half later, where the hell were you? You weren't there, so he lied. So, do you see how Ciera was baited for this, people? She was baited to be murdered, okay? And people can say, oh, it's just, there she goes again, going on about Ciera, Ciera just admitted Ciera was a junkie. Oh, hey. But you know what? She was easy pickings. Easy pickings. And don't believe the old fucking okie dokie that they're not harvesting organs from fucking junkies, because they are. One man's junk is another man's treasure. And right now, the treasure belongs to the fucking coroner, the cops, and anyone else that works with this illegal organ harvesting fucking multi-billion-dollar. Like, what are they doing with the organs? Are they eating them, people? Are they shipping them off to fucking China? Tommy says they're being shipped off to China. Do you think they're being shipped off to China? Or is it our local residents, the rich bastards that don't have to worry about the coronavirus because they're living in their fucking monster homes insulated from the world? Are they the ones that are fucking buying these organs? And who's getting them? Or are they just taking key elements out of the body? Maybe they're not taking all this adrenochrome. I don't get it, people. There was absolutely no call for what these guys did. Absolutely none. Unless, of course, there's sinister reasons behind it. And the number one fucking reason is Ciera was baited to be there because the provincial government gave her no choice, people. The shelters are overflowing with sick people. Who's next? Who's going to be targeted next from the hundreds that are out here fucking in Ciera's same situation? What, is this guy going to come back in 4 months from now when everything dies down and go pick another fucking victim? Is that what he's going to do? Oh, I got a room to rent. How do we know his last tenant didn't end up fucking dead like Ciera? Didn't he say it didn't work out? His last tenant? Well, I wonder why. Because he snapped, people. The first time I met this dude, I think I only met him once prior to him baiting Ciera with this place. Maybe twice, but the last time I remember meeting him prior to him baiting Ciera and then making sure that, you know, right? He drove up in here and wanted to drop her off. I said, well, I can't really have her here. You know, she was going on about needing to go to the doctor or something, getting her Suboxone. I said, look, here's some gas money. Please take her to the doctor, at least that. Right? If you can take her to the hospital, do that. He goes, oh, I'm going to snap. I'm going to snap. And I'm like, well, don't snap. Don't snap. Just, here's some money. Here's some gas. Help her if you can. Take her to the, go get her Suboxone. Or if you can't, take her to the hospital. The point is, he told me he was going to snap, people. So, it keeps playing in my fucking head. That's what he did. He snapped. And then he got off on it. And the cops came and collected their fucking treasure. Which is another man's garbage. But at the end of the day, it all boils down to the same pile of fucking organs. Or it's just a simple power trip so that they can tweak the legislation and make it where people like me, a parent, actually has no say in how our children are being treated after these demons get their fucking clutches on them, okay? Because only demons do shit like this. Only people high on the horse trying to flex their muscles, right? You know? Only demons do this kind of shit, people. That's another thing, people. They didn't even give her a module. Right? And it's not like I didn't talk to people. I talked to, like, these mental health workers, Jazz, one name in particular, right? Some dude that was out there helping to house the homeless. They brought in all these modules, people. They didn't give Ciera a module. Nope. They left her out in the fucking streets, people. I told you. They like to keep them out there pimped. They pimp them until they don't want them anymore. Until there's a better use for them. Right? In all my life, I've never seen the shit that goes on. Okay? Like, when I was growing up, we didn't have to worry about 13-year-olds being targeted with meth and then pimped out for the rest of their life because of it. Right? As the government makes promises to fucking help them. But you know what? As fast as you get one government coming in promising to help them and actually build modules where some of them got housed. Not Ciera, though. You notice? Not Ciera, people. Another government will come in and fucking wipe everybody out. Like with the BC Liberal government. And they brought in fucking cartels in the housing market. Cartels, they brought them into the fucking casinos. They brought it in with the freaking fentanyl, right? All under the BC Liberal government, people. Right? And now organ harvesting were the ones that just never get housing. If you notice, Ciera never got any kind of housing, people. None. But she got fucking lured into a housing situation that not even 2 days later, she was fucking dead by some man, more than likely, who had no sexual interest in her because he probably couldn't fucking get it up anyway. And so he snapped because he was mad at his own fucking life. And then, because he's in cahoots with the cops in the corner, like I said, there was only so many people inside that house, people. He got paid off. Unless he gets arrested and put in fucking jail, or the cops can explain to me how he didn't do it, just like Julian. How did he not do it, people? You can't come to me and say, oh, she was a drug addict. You know that. Everybody is a testament to how fucked up she really was. You know, she did it to herself. It was a fucking accident. And also, she was depressed. You can see it in her medical files. So therefore, it was a fucking suicide. Doesn't matter if it was an accident or a fucking suicide. Because at the end of the day, we got what we wanted. And that was the garbage that nobody wanted. Basically. As I'm outside washing toys. So I can bring them inside before I lose them. I can bring this inside for Amari. Before I fucking lose it. Right? Nobody can't say I'm not being gang stalked in fucking April. Okay? As my daughter is being lured into some maybe housing. To only be fucking whacked out. The cops in the corner are appointing that guy, the go-to between guy, to identify her. It's bullshit, people. Total fucking bullshit. Do you know how easy it's going to be? People are being targeted. This is like, the more shit that goes on, more time that passes, Ciera was targeted, people. She was targeted, okay? Two different fucking stories. He given two different stories, people. And nobody to Ciera is giving two different fucking stories. But he's the one who entrapped her. Right? My daughter would walk to her death not realizing she was going to die. Okay, people. 50 minutes left on this camera. So now that we know that Ciera was lured to her death, basically, right? What does that say about this community and what's going on in it? Okay. Seriously, man. Because this is like what you call a targeted hit. Right? She just got out of jail. Right? I'm sure somewhere along the line she's had recent blood tests. Right? You know, she's been in jail for, you know, since January, right? So, she hasn't been doing drugs. You know, she goes to the hospital regularly, right? And, like, we don't really know what they're taking from these bodies, but I can tell you right now, people, they're harvesting the homeless people, junkies or not, it doesn't matter. Ciera is the classic example. When in doubt, think of that phantom car. There was only so many people in that house. It wasn't a cop car. That was not a cop car, people. It wasn't a fucking ghost car. That was the coroner's car. Okay? Right? She needed us out of the house. Just enough time to load up the body. And then she fucked off. Okay? As the cops bold-faced fucking lied and concocted some stupid story. Right? As that guy sat up in there and fucking helped out. He helped people. He's the one who trapped her. With bait. The bait was, I'll give you housing. Because the government has had years to fucking help her get housing. They haven't done shit. They didn't even give her module housing. Right? They can't use the excuse, oh, well, we were afraid she'd die and OD in there. Because lots of people fucking die in those things. You just don't hear about it because they don't talk about it. But now that we know what they're doing, all those people dying in those modules, chances are many of their organs are being harvested too, only the public's being told no it's not because they're junkies, which is a bunch of fucking crap. Because if that was the case, they wouldn't have treated Ciera the way she was, the way they did. Okay? Nothing they can fucking say to me to convince me otherwise. If they were up board, legitimate with the shit that they do, I wouldn't be doing these videos, people. And you notice, right, my family's being literally fucking targeted. Someone called this Arkansas-y, something to do with Arkansas, where somebody with some elite, right, in Arkansas, like Bill Clinton or somebody like that, you know, putting a fucking hit out on people because they don't want the truth to get out, right? You know? Shit like that, right? You know? No. She was fucking set up for this, people. The more this guy stays quiet, he hasn't phoned me. He just phoned me that one time to have me go in so that they could kick me out. That was it. That was the only reason he fucking called me. Just to rub it in my face. Right? You're not technically supposed to put this in a compost box, but these boxes are so big, like this thing is so big, that after it all goes away, it won't really make much of a difference. Alright. It's one of those things that just didn't make it because I never got a chance to build with it because ShaMay died, right? And then I kind of got stuck inside looking after Amari. I didn't get outside very much, see? Just break it up into pieces, spread it around. Inside of that or throw it in the garbage, and for what it's worth, this compost box will sit here for 2 years at least. And then you sift through it, you take out the woods and all that hasn't completely decomposed, and by the time you're done cleaning it out, you got a nice garden bed with some nice dirt in it. That's what happens. Right? But it's a process. Under that window over there, I actually got a composting in there that I did a couple, 2-3 years ago, which I'm sure the dirt is ready. But that's not the priority, right? So anyway, I'm trying not to get all bent out of shape here, people, but the more I think about it, the more I realize that my daughter was lured for this. With the fucking bait of housing. Right? He used housing as the bait. Now, mind you, even if he wouldn't have offered her a place, she was going there looking for help sometimes because she had no place to go. Because that's why he brought her here, right? Because, you know, I can't house her. I tried to. The kids tried to downstairs. But she was so damaged and hurt from what happened with being kicked out and abused by everybody she came into contact with. And she didn't have no faith, right? So it just got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse until finally she was targeted for the end fucking result. Right? And housing was the bait. Even though they brought in fucking modules and they should have housed her a long time ago and they didn't, people. What was their excuse for not putting her in a module? I'd like to know. You know? I would rather have fucking her died in the fucking module than under this condition that she's died in, because under this condition is too much of a deja vu with Julian. You know, guy wants to sit there and witness your reaction, you know, sit up right in fucking front of you, you know, practically smile in your face, watching what you do, right, you know, feeding you fucking bullshit. That's what he did. He fed me fucking bullshit. You know, he got mouthy with my son. Who's this guy gonna fucking target next in my family, people? Okay, that's the next question. Who is this fucking guy gonna target in my family next? He knows where I live. He's obviously connected to criminal fucking organization. I don't know if it's some fucking biker gang, some triad fucking gang. Who fucking knows what kind of fucking gang he's fucking connected to, but he's definitely connected to fucking something. Like, what kind of gang are the cops in the corner? Are they fucking bikers? Like, what kind of bikers are they? Right? Because this is fucking gang activity, right? When you fucking offer people a fucking house and you fucking have them end up dead in your house, and then you give half-baked stories that don't even fucking match up, right? As the fucking people who are supposed to help you breach that trust. You see, the Criminal Code of Canada is obsolete. So regardless of whether they breach the trust or not, it's not going to fucking matter, because our judges, they don't give a shit. Right? Because some of these judges are the ones that are buying the organs. Whether they're fucking eating them or whether they're fucking putting them in a glass bowl and with formaldehyde and fucking worshiping things. I don't know what the hell these people are doing, but this is such a sick society we live in. Like, honest to God. Honest to God. And then you can't even protect yourself and go off and get an independent autopsy, because the government fucking knows what's going on, people, because it's the government employees that are doing this. I have shown this to you 2 times already. Right? 2 fucking times. Okay? 2 fucking times. Yeah. So, I don't know how I'm going to deal with this one. In terms of, it was entrapment. He trapped her. He lured her like a fucking spider. What?
Nobody's phoned you yet, okay?
Yeah, okay, well, Nana's working.
Till nighttime?
Till nighttime, yeah, I have to stay out here. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what time it is right now.
Okay. See, I have to stay out here, people.
It's 3 o'clock.
Yeah, the city wants me to do everything in 30 days with snow, hail, rain, right? Murder, cover up, illegal organ harvesting, right? Tell me where it's not true. What's the what was the purpose of running off with Ciera's body like that, people? There's only one fucking reason. It wasn't to save my feelings because Ciera didn't look pretty. Because I'll tell you, wherever Ciera goes, I'm going to be looking at Ciera. And I'm going to get it in fucking writing before I fucking have her body fucking transferred. If I don't get it in fucking writing, they're not making no money off the funeral. Okay? And then what's going to happen is we'll fucking bury her in a casket, do the whole 9 yards with our 10 or 5 people standing way off in the distance, witnessing the shit. And then after the coronavirus is done, then we'll do the big deal. And I'll invite all her fucking friends to the funeral that we couldn't have. Right? Because those people are just as much at risk to be lured into housing, to get fucking whacked. However they get fucking whacked, it doesn't matter if it's, what is it called, hot capping or fucking hit on the head. It's all the same, people. It's all the fucking same. It's the same people who come in, right, with their taxpayers' cars and fucking pillage. It's all the same fucking people that are fucking pillaging. It's funny how they call us garbage. Treat us like garbage. But yet they're pillaging the garbage. Right? They couldn't take Ciera's body out of there fucking fast enough. And then to use some fucking Henry. Some Henry that obviously was a snake. Right? To verify that was Ciera. He doesn't have Ciera's ID. What does he know about Ciera? Right? So you can see what I'm doing. I mean, is this cleaning? Well, some people wouldn't consider it to be cleaning, but no, I've done this before. I know this stuff eventually goes away, right? And if you blend it in, it's not so bad. You don't put too much. Just a little bit for what it's worth. Right. Eventually it goes. Yeah, okay. Okay. I'm done. My hands are getting really cold. I took off my gloves and I've been just doing a few other things. I need this wood as I build up these, do repairs, whatever, You have to sometimes just brace things, right? Because of the rain, right? It eats the wood, right? After a while, you have to repair things. You can see what happens. So that's what this is for. You can see it's ready to go now, right? Oh, it's cold. And then this hose, I need to run it and test it, and because it's such, there's only one water hose in the front, and then that one up, and then that one up there. So I need to figure out a way to run a hose through here. So I'm not even paying attention to what I'm looking at. Anyway, so I don't, just run it and run it around, bury it, and then run it through or something. I'm not sure, but I know it doesn't look like I did very much today, but I've been out here for quite a few hours. Oh, see? I'm falling, tripping. Okay. I have to come back out still, right? Washing. That's what I'm doing. I'll wash this wood. Right? Let's see. Now I have to bring that into the garage. Let it dry. So hold on.